Are you looking for the best food vacuum sealers? In this video, we will look at some of the 4 best vacuum on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. Anova Precision Vacuum Sealer Pro. The Anova Pro was my first foray into vacuum sealing, and I was pleasantly surprised by how easy it is to operate. You open it by clicking 2 buttons on the side, line up the edge of your bag across the chamber, and close it. There's a very audible sound, so I always knew for sure it was secured. The machine is super simple to navigate. I watched this short demonstration on YouTube before jumping in. One button seals until it automatically senses all the air is gone, and another lets you pulse seal, only pushing the air out as you press a button, so you have a bit more control. There's also an option to double seal for extra insurance. Even when I shook a bag filled with tomato sauce, there was absolutely no leakage. The fact that it's easy to use isn't only a plus for beginners like me. James Peisker, co-founder of Porter Road in Nashville, uses it for food storage and sous videing and assures it gets the job done. There aren't a lot of buttons or bells and whistles, he says. It's very straightforward, very user-friendly. He says he appreciates the accessible price point, too, a sentiment shared by Dave Yasuda, director of marketing at Snake River Farms. Yasuda is responsible for generating a lot of the photography his company puts out, meaning he sous vides a lot to ensure a consistent look of the plated pieces of pork and beef. In the office, they have a big, expensive machine. But I often have to take this show on the road, he says. I've tried a lot of different ones, and sometimes they can be wimpy. This has a lot of suction. It's powerful. Still, it's the smallest model on this list, with the exception of Zwilling's handheld system that comes with accompanying containers, imperative for someone like me who lives in an apartment and doesn't have that much storage to give up to non-essential appliances. Other machines can be bulky and look old-fashioned, Yasuda says. This one is sleek. Plus, it's pretty innocuous space-wise. I turn it on its side and put it behind my pots and pans. And Peisker says the size and simple build make it easy to clean. At number 2. Nesco VS02 Vacuum Sealer. When picking out a vacuum sealer, I did a lot of research into affordability, says Ryan Dolliver, owner of Palmetto in Brooklyn. I bought it for the bar, and I didn't know if it was going to work for us, and I didn't want to spend a bunch of money on equipment we might not have ended up using. But it did indeed work, and he's been relying on it for more than 6 months now. He turns to it primarily for infusing and preserving ingredients for cocktails, a practice where consistency is paramount, he says. Other methods for flavoring creams or syrups can suffer from variations in temperature and movement, but with vacuum sealing, recipes turn out the exact same every single time. The machine also allows him to keep seasonal produce fresh for months. Finally, because he lives down the street from his bar, he sometimes uses it to seal foods to store in his own freezer or to sous vide at home. Overall, it's a very low cost of entry and does what it says it does every time, he says. It's a consumer-grade product, but I use it in a professional setting, and it still works great. At number 3. FoodSaver FM5200 Series 2-in-1 Vacuum Sealing System. Vacuum sealing is a huge part of my job, explains Kimberly Plafk, chef and general manager of Standing's Butchery's soon-to-come second location in Los Angeles. In the shop, when she's sealing anything that doesn't get sold immediately, as well as house-made charcuterie, it's a chamber model that gets that work done. But she also has the FoodSaver at home and pulls it out frequently. I find it super helpful, she says. It's a space saver because you're taking all the air out. You can organize your fridge and freezer so much better. I'm a crazy coupon lady, and if I see a good deal on something at the grocery store, I can divide and then vacuum seal and save it for ages. Plafk is also very into canning. If she makes jam, puts it in a jar, and then puts that jar in the fridge, it will only last a couple of weeks. But if she seals it with the FoodSaver's canning attachment, it comes with this handy accessory, which nestles in a compartment at the top. The spread will be stable for much longer, up to a few months. Anthony Accardi, owner of Brooklyn's Transmitter Brewing, uses his FoodSaver 4 to 7 days a week, probably as much as my stove, he told me. It has long legs outside of straightforward sous vide use. I use it to make quick pickles, and for fermenting. It takes freezer burn out of the equation. You can marinate something for 10 minutes instead of overnight and get the same amount of flavor. I cure pastrami, bacon, and ham in it. As for the machine itself, Accardi calls it a well-designed unit. He particularly likes the view window, which helps to manage feeding the bag and to see what's going on inside. He's owned his for several years with, as he noted, very frequent use. I'm kind of surprised that it's lasted so long for a home unit, he says. I don't baby it. At number 4. Amazon Basics Vacuum Seal System. Russ Flint, owner of Rain Shadow Meats in Seattle, uses Amazon's in-house brand vacuum sealer to package sausages in his shop because the simpler, the better for me, he says. He appreciates that it is fairly lightweight due to its smaller size, though it does still fit standard 11-inch bags, and has an indent at the bottom for the cord to tuck into when not in use. But mostly, he likes that the mechanisms, a regular seal, a vacuum seal, and options for dry and wet foods, are straightforward. Other ones have all these frills and whatnot, which are just other places for it to fall apart and break, he says. The price even comes in at slightly less than the Nesco above.